Newsweek is ensuring Donald Trump has a nasty weekend by unloading one heck of a drag on the man. Hopefully that brightens your weekend a bit. Not to be petty. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. Donald Trump, as you probably realize, celebrated 100 days in office this week by claiming he was the best and most beloved president ever. Rather than replay clips to that effect, or the truly creepy cabinet meeting where everyone took turns offering to sacrifice a goat in his honor, we'll let Jessica Tarlov break this down for you. Now, this is a longish clip, but it hits every note you need to follow this story. So take a look.
Up. You know what else? Bret Baier had a beautiful graphic. I might frame it on my wall that had the approval ratings for the last 6 presidents for the first 100 days. Donald Trump is now the lowest. He beat himself. So he was at 45% in the first 100 days of Trump 1.0, and now he's at 44%. His economic ratings have gone down by 20%. The American public don't trust him on cost of living, inflation, all the things he was hired to do. They know the tariffs are a tax on them. The CEOs of Walmart and Target and Home Depot have to go into his office and beg him to stop so that the shelves won't be empty. There are containers coming from China that can't get here because of these tariffs, 145%. Or maybe it's 50%.
What does this have to do with the Maryland dad?
Right. It has to do with what Trump is doing. And there are all of these GOP-appointed judges that are ruling against him, saying a path of perfect lawlessness, brazen example of retaliation.
Put it this way, you're just actually undoing your whole point, Jessica.
No, I'm not.
Because they are focusing on this guy who basically every day we find out. I don't know how he could be underwater. He might be under 50%, but he's not underwater on immigration.
Fine. Reuters, YouGov, Quinnipiac, just honestly,
he's winning on deportation. You agree with that?
But
right.
2-1 that this guy should be returned. Listen,
keep defending a gangbanger all you want.
But you're saying they should emphasize the economy. That's what you're saying.
I understand that you want me to try to unravel everything that I said. The economy is what drives people to the polls. He now only has a 27% rating with Hispanic voters because he's not focused on the economy and their costs haven't gone down.
So are you saying he's going to have a hard time being reelected in 2028?
Right.
Well, Eric Trump is wearing a hat that says Trump 2028
This is very
today,
similar when Ronald Reagan made titanic changes in the economy. Initially, people panicked.
Donald Trump.
We knew it was going to be easy.
You did.
But he's actually doing just as titanic
people who
moves.
can afford to sit there and say...
At least he's leading the country. Your guy wasn't even present.
Right, we'll see. Big, beautiful bill.
We chose that clip because Tarlov remains the sole sane voice over at Fox, or at least the only person there not pushing a Republican agenda. And she just encapsulated Trump's first 100 days brilliantly. Wait until you hear about this latest twist. Prices are up, civil liberties have been eroded, America is an embarrassment on the world stage, and Trump's lackeys want to suspend the Constitution so he can stay in office past the end of his term. On the upside, the American people don't feel the same way. And in fact, it's far worse than Trump or his gremlins even seem to realize. A new poll published by Newsweek finds that a whopping 25% of all Trump voters regret their vote. Concerns expressed by voters in the piece refer to Trump's dictatorial behavior, his asinine tariffs, his handling of the economy, and his general buffoonish behavior. And it gets worse for Trump. Those numbers are even higher in the swing states of North Carolina, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. The poll also found that Americans say Trump has done more bad than good by a margin of 15 points, 50% bad versus 35% good. Among independents, 19% say Trump's first 100 days have been more good than bad. The article caps off by citing a litany of polls that, contrary to what the flapping heads on Fox, Jessica Tarlov notwithstanding, of course, contrary to what those lip clappers say, Trump's approval rating is in the toilet, which is all too appropriate for a man that spews only sewage. But enough with the toilet humor. The bigger point is this. Democrats have an opportunity here. Already we've seen Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, David Hogg, and others tap into the growing rage in the country to energize an anti-Trump vote. Now they need to go one step further and articulate a vision for their party, and a message for voters. As John Kerry proved in 2004, saying we can do better goes a long way toward firing up a base, but it's not enough. Democrats need to describe that vision, a country where people are not detained without being charged with a crime, a country that does not deport people to foreign gulags, a nation where universities are not punished for having a diverse student body, where business monopolies are broken up, where billionaires pay fair taxes, where citizens can count on their social programs not getting cut, and thus the money they paid getting stolen, and where things actually work for all Americans. You know, I get a lot of viewer messages or comments that when I talk about Democratic priorities like this, I don't actually say what they should be. As a journalist and a commentator, I'm not sure that's my job. That's up to the people and to our candidates. But it's Friday, so the heck with it. I'll leave you with this one. I've long believed that the United States needs a mandatory service program, one for every high school graduate in the country. This would not be military service, at least not necessarily. It would be humanitarian or science-oriented. The term would run 2 years, and every participant would receive an associate's level degree at the completion. No need to enter college right out of high school. Participants could do anything from helping to ease the bureaucratic burden in government offices to helping to teach in schools, to aiding in research in science labs for the government. And perhaps most important of all, every participant would live in a dormitory-style facility far from home, no opting out. This would allow Americans to see their own country, to get to know people from all over. In essence, the United States would get to know itself again in all its diverse glory. Look, anyone who has ever served far away from home on a military base or gone to college at a far-off university or studied abroad knows what I'm talking about. It's amazing what we take for granted when we live in a geographic and social bubble. And when we know ourselves and our neighbors, when we actually talk to one another instead of shouting on social media, what do you think that would do for political polarization? How do you think our citizenry would grow as people given this opportunity? Republicans love to scream about cutting taxes and how government is the problem and how nobody should have to take care of their fellow citizens. Maybe it's time for Democrats to remind Americans that, for better or worse, we are one big family here, and we all have a duty to contribute to our civic health. President Kennedy said it. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. It's time our family takes care of our home again. This is Occupy Democrats. Oh, wait. Hang on a second. Bring me back. Hi. One last thing for everyone in the Southern California area. If you are free tomorrow, I'd love to meet you at QCon in West Hollywood. It's free to attend, and I'll be there all day promoting my novels, meeting readers and viewers, and even hosting a panel of journalists and artists discussing the state of Hollywood. If you are there, come up and say hello. I'd love to meet you. I'll see you there.